Hey everybody, it's Dick here. If you're like me, you've been scratching your head ever since the first silhouetted images splashed across your social media of the updated 2021 Bonnevilles. I remain confused weeks after their debut. What's the big deal? Probably nothing. Let's see if we can't find out. Click. Here they are, the 2021 Triumph Bonnevilles. Thanks, Dix. Now that we are looking at them, we can ask ourselves, why all of the hubbub for bikes that look virtually identical to the previous 4 model years? Why does something as unremarkable as a Euro 5 standards update warrant a live stream event featuring an astronaut? And how can we convince the consumers that the elimination of a model is somehow a redesign of another? Stay tuned and maybe we can get to the bottom of all this. But first we're going to show you pictures of a motorcycle made in the 1950s by a Triumph company that went defunct in 1983 before it went into receivership. When a savvy property developer picked over the bones of the former company, acquired the name and manufacturing rights, and through some advantageous license agreements with a spare parts company, kept some form of production going until 1990 when the new company could start producing their own bikes, so we could claim some tenuous lineage of uninterrupted production and stand on the shoulders of innovative yet ultimately failed motorcycle designers. Beyond the legally required Euro 5 emissions and fuel consumption update on the Bonneville T120, I am most excited about the much anticipated reduced inertia. This is not to be confused with the equally exciting engine mass reduction or the weight savings of the lighter crankshaft, clutch, balancer shafts, and wheel rims, because we all know that inertia, which of course is a property of matter by which it continues in its existing state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless that state is changed by an external force, in relation to motorcycling is always better when reduced, and of course is not the product of reduced mass and lighter materials, which is of course why it is included separately in a list of dynamic updates to a motorcycle as iconic as the T120. We will also spec Brembo front brakes and throw in standard cruise control from the stock bin. We've also improved the rain mode, and so we have another item in our list of updates. We've included the word Bonneville on the clock faces now. Oh, and we've also put our 3-bar classic logo trim on the tank as well. We need to fill out this list as much as we can, you understand. Which brings us to the T100, which was initially spared from the dismal update that was imposed on the other 900 Bonneville engines back in 2019. This is where Triumph's Little Dick syndrome caught up with them and they admitted their shame for the low horsepower numbers on the 900 engine. They then followed some of the aftermarket performance parts companies and changed the camshaft and tuning to increase the output by 10 horsepower at higher revs, thus highlighting the fact that the bike only has a 5-speed transmission and ultimately kicking the once perfectly tuned engine square in the balls. Now for 2021, the T100 can share in the rest of the 900's misery and we can sell it on as an update. Also, it's Euro 5 compliant, which means it has lower emissions, but we will list Euro 5 compliance separately from lower emissions on the list of updates so it looks like there's more updated than a Euro 5 update. Also, the word Bonneville is on the clocks now. Arguably the most laughable update of this 2021 Bonneville family of motorcycles is the Triumph Street Twin. Honestly, the 10mm thicker seat and new foam padding structure for added enjoyment on longer rides is one of the highlighted updates of the Street Twin, followed by the headlight brackets, the new vented side panels a la Motone Customs, and a revised throttle body cover. The best part of the live streaming launch of these quote-unquote new Bonnevilles was when, with a straight face, a Triumph representative pointed out the aluminum tank badge, the reflective aluminum tank badge on the Street Twin, as a highlighted update. Of course, it's Euro 5 compliant. Luckily, someone at Triumph realized that the update on the Street Twin was dismal, so they painted 1,000 of them black, had one of their expert pinstripers put gold lines on them and are selling them as a special edition to try and mask the fact that the update is so piss poor. The pinstripers at Triumph are no joke. They're very skilled artists, and each of the pinstripe tanks that they paint are signed. I'm lucky enough to have a gold-lined pinstriped Street Cup, one of the last to come off the line, and the signature on the bolt tab at the end of the tank is pretty charming. Luckily, the Speedmaster hasn't been changed all that much because the Speedmaster was one of the better bikes in the Bonneville line. It benefits from the reduced internal inertia, which gives it smoother and fuller power delivery. Power is now 77 brake horsepower, which is an increase over the previous 76 brake horsepower. Well done, Triumph. A welcome change is the upgraded 47mm Showa cartridge forks, replacing the 41mm shocks on the previous model, which was a downside on the previous model and made it a bit harsh on the ride. So I'm welcoming that, and that is actually an update. The seat has a lumbar support, and the passenger seat has 11mm more foam for comfort over longer rides. We'll ignore the fact that the lumbar comfort seat was an option available for sale on the previous model and is now being sold as a standard feature. It's Euro 5 compliant. Announced in 2016 and began selling in 2017, the Triumph Bobber came with a 19-inch front wheel and single disc brake, 41mm forks, 16-inch rear wheel, 9-liter fuel tank, standard halogen light, bare bones, Bobber styled. Some of the early criticisms said that the front wheel was squirrely and the brakes were soft, and 9 liters could get you to the next gas station. 2018, Triumph came out with the Bobber Black, which was pretty much the same bike, except it was blacked out. It had a smaller 16-inch front wheel with a fat tire. It had beefier, thicker forks. It had a dual disc on the front to address the braking issues. It also included LED headlights and standard cruise control. If we look at the update of the Bobber, we can see that it's not an update at all. They've simply eliminated the original Bobber for the Bobber Black, eliminated the black in the Bobber Black name, and put a slightly higher capacity gas tank on it, and it's Euro 5 compliant. After reviewing these updates, I had to stop and ask why such a grand announcement for what amounts to be a pretty insignificant Euro 5 emissions regulatory update. It weighed on me until I read the news that Harley-Davidson was pulling its Sportsters from UK and European markets, closing its Indian manufacturing facilities, and is not interested in investing in low-emissions bikes for our market. It's unsure how much longer its water-cooled 114 engine will be available in the UK, and chatter about a Chinese-made Harley 300cc that may or may not be Euro 5 compliant available in the UK in the near future is downright laughable when considering the heritage of the Harley-Davidson name. So this launch of a Euro 5 compliant line from Triumph is not all that absurd. It's simply saying we are here for the long haul. We're committed to updating our bikes and making our bikes available as restrictions constrain our manufacturing and our industry. It's funny how Triumph uses the word evolved. Evolution is slow, painstaking, incremental changes over extraordinary lengths of time on a particular species' path to oblivion. And so we are here celebrating one of the minor, seemingly insignificant changes that ultimately leads to Triumph's extinction, the Euro 5 update. I like that they use the term evolution, as the glacially slow development of Triumph's marketing strategy can be seen by the naked eye. They are still pushing the high-waisted blue jeans, black shirt, white lettering shtick that they were using back in 2006. The same stock rocky guitar riffs and motion graphic filters of static and video distortion that gets everyone excited for the irreverence to come. The only thing that they've eliminated is the slow-mo grinder sparks, but I have a sense that those are not far off, or at least at this point are implied. Triumph has been chasing Harley-Davidson and the premium brand mark since the 1990s, and they pushed heavy since 2006, and now they're telling us in the UK that they are the only premium brand heritage-style motorcycles. They've finally achieved what they've tried so long to obtain. They are the premium cool guy motorcycle, even if they've only achieved it through attrition. Bobber. Woohoo! If you like that video and you want to see more like them, hit like, share, and subscribe.